Hello and welcome to tonight's Action Coaching Club live coaching call. Lou Dallow here, welcoming you to the call tonight. Nice to be with you here tonight. Nice to have you with me. Tonight's a live coaching call, so we will be doing sort of the first come, first served round robin format till we run out of questions or run out of time. I'll check the mailbag to see if there are any questions pending in there, and then we'll do some live Q&A as well. If you would like to ask a question, there's a couple of ways you could do it. One is by typing it in the GoToWebinar questions panel, which you should have access to on your, well, when you logged in, you will see that. And if you'd like me to open your line, you can press *2 to request, that'll raise your hand in my control panel, and I can open your line and we can chat live. And of course, I'll just leave this final bit of new information for people who are coming on a little bit later. We've got some new numbers for tonight. These are not going to be our permanent numbers, but that's just for tonight. Okay, so let's hop over and catch up on mailbag. Lots of questions here tonight. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get us to the point where we left off last time. Okay, good. Let's dive right in with a question from Joe. Hey Lou, I'm currently trying to drive traffic to my opt-in page via Facebook PPC, but their suggested cost per click bid, CPC cost per click bid, is in the range of $1 to $1.50, which makes it way too expensive to drive a lot of traffic, especially when only a fraction of them will be opting in, let alone making a purchase. Suggestions. Well, I have two suggestions that you can try here, Joe. One is to use the CPM pricing, right? The cost per thousand model rather than the cost per click, and that way at least you'll get impressions, and you will pay for 1,000 impressions. And typically, that's at least a good way to test how good your ad is. And I have been, on the recommendation of Armin Morin, he suggested always start with CPM. I actually used to do it the other way around. I still tend to want to do it the other way around, which is, to start testing with pay-per-click until my ad converts, and then I go over to CPM, which is the cost per thousand. But he kind of recommended trying the other way around, and I'll forward that advice on to you, which is to change your bidding strategy on your ad from cost per click to cost per thousand, and then see what the click-through rates are like. And you'll get traffic, you'll get clicks, and you won't pay per click, you'll pay per impressions. Now, if your ad is any good, then you should get a handful of clicks every 10, 20, 30,000 impressions, and you'll likely pay less than $1 to $1.50. So that's one strategy. The other strategy is just bid what you want to pay, and because remember, it's an excuse me. Thought I was done with that, because remember, this is kind of an auction process, right? And even though they're not quite, they don't have quite the algorithm that Google has right now, they're still kind of, Facebook will want to put the ads that convert best. If you're on a cost per click basis, they're making money only when people click on it, so they're going to raise the ads to the top that get better conversions. So if your ad is converting fairly well, even though your bid may not be what they're recommending, so you'll get a little bit of less traffic, but you will get some traffic, and that's at least a way to get started. And test a little bit till you can get your opt-in page working to the level that you want to, and then you may choose to either either raise your cost per click or go back to cost per thousand. Probably, if I had my druthers, I would say try the cost per thousand for a while first, and remember to set your daily budget so that you don't exceed what you're willing to pay. Okay. So that's what I would recommend to you there. Let me see. Michael says, I feel better after the feedback. Great. That's awesome, Michael. And that was actually, we had a conversation with Michael last week, so I'm just going to skip that one. And up here, Renegade. DJ says, I don't understand how to get audio on both the phone and the computer during the webinar. What if I want to use a USB headset? How do I use a landline with that? What if I want to use a landline? I totally acknowledge that the technology end of this is definitely, there's a lot of moving parts that we want to get a handle on, and I didn't see the landline on the computer. Yeah, I may have glossed over that a little bit. So let me try and spend a little bit more time. And I think one of the reasons that I glossed over this was because I actually, it's a little bit different. If you're on a PC, or if you're on Windows, or if you're on a Mac, and if you want to talk to folks on the phone line or not, all of these things have a slightly different configuration. So I'm going to try to tackle your questions kind of piecemeal and show you a couple of different ways you can do this. So let me just make sure I'm going to answer what you want to know. What if I want to use a landline? Can it also be broadcast on the GoToMeeting broadcast? It seemed like you glossed over. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the headset and the USB. If you want to use a landline, the only way that it can actually be broadcast on the the simple answer is yes, but the long answer is you probably don't want to do it this way. Because one easy way to do it is that you do a three-way call, right? And you dial into the landline conference, and then you do a three-way call into your GoToMeeting. Problem with that I found is now you're introducing the GoToMeeting line on your connection. So you're introducing voice over IP noise and voice over IP connection and voice over IP echo potentially. So and also if you're the one that's talking, something kind of strange happens, right? You're talking on the phone, and then you're also getting the voice back from the GoToMeeting broadcast because it's coming in on the audio. So I don't necessarily recommend you do it this way. If you want to broadcast to the GoToMeeting, what you want to broadcast is your voice, and you're either going to dial in by telephone or you're just going to use a microphone. Okay, so there's a lot of questions here. So what I want to do, DJ, is if you would raise your hand, if you would press *2, and type in the question box here. Oh, Jane is asking a question. Let me see about this. I'm going to point Jane back to here. And DJ, type in your area code, if you will, so that I can identify you here. And I want to open your line because I want to find out what the configuration that you're most interested in doing is, and then we can address that one right away. Okay. DJ, is that you?
I don't know.
It is. I got you.
All right.
Okay. So tell me about the configuration you're most likely going to use. What's the one that's the most important to you? Like, in other words, how are you engaging with the folks in your on your webinars?
Well, that requires a little future projection for me. What I'm wanting to do is to know how I should spend money and what I should do about that.
Okay.
So I haven't done a webinar yet, but when I do it, I want to know how to do it, and I don't want to go buy all of the moving parts that you bought, that whole configuration if I don't have to. So I didn't understand how to use anything else.
Okay. Are you going to be doing like what we're doing right now here, is opening people's lines and engaging with them, live on the call, or is it going to be more presentation focused?
Well, I imagine I'll have to experiment and then let it evolve.
Okay. So basically, I don't know how to answer your question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of different options, and then as you're implementing it, what I would recommend is come on back and talk to me specifically about what you want to do, because the way you're going to implement it is actually quite a bit different depending on what you want to do. So if you don't want to talk to people on the call live, then you save yourself a whole lot of headache, right? And you can do away with a lot of this stuff. So let me just draw you a couple of pictures, and I'll show you sort of from the most basic configuration, and then the different options leading up to the one that I have. So if, for example, now, assuming you're not going to use Carefree conference calls, what a lot of people do, and this is a way to get started. It's not my favorite way, but it's a way to get started. Is that you'll have your your USB. Oh, gosh, that's pretty bad, isn't it? Let me clear that up. Okay, so you have a USB mic. Whoops, what happened here? USB mic, and then it just plugs straight into your computer. Okay, and then you'll have GoToWebinar, and then this goes out to your conference. Okay, and in this case, what you'll do, you could, when you're configuring GoToWebinar, you can then say, I want to use the voice over IP plus the telephone. And when you tell that to GoToWebinar, then your users will have the choice to listen to you either over their computer speakers, right? So they can be on their computers, or they can choose to dial in. Okay, so GoToWebinar will provide a voice over IP telephone number, a conference ID, and this is pretty much what most people are doing these days, right? And so to get started, that's not a bad way to go at all. And all you really need to do in this case is, if you are you on a PC or on a Mac?
I have a PC. And
okay.
Is this a headset you're talking about? USB headset?
It could be a mic or a headset. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. And so your Camtasia, what you want to do, you just want to make sure that Camtasia, you set it up to record both the microphone and the computer audio. Okay, because what's happening on the conference line is going to be fed in as computer audio. What's coming in for your mic is going to be the line in. Well, actually, depending on, it might actually be the default input. Anyway, you'll see it when you set up Camtasia, but you want to make sure you're telling Camtasia not only to record your microphone, but also to record the sounds that are coming in on your computer audio. And if you do that, then Camtasia will record both sides of the conversation, and you'll be all set. Now, you know, this is the voice over IP configuration, and sometimes it'll get a little bit noisy or fluttery or whatever else, but you know, you could do your best to mitigate that. Now, if you're not allowing people to speak to you, then it really doesn't matter, because Camtasia is going to record your voice very clearly off the microphone, and you know, whatever the quality is that goes out to your folks over the voice over IP line is whatever it is. So you know, they may not always hear the very best, but they'll usually hear pretty good quality, and for sure on the replay you're going to be recording your voice in original studio quality, so the replay is going to be great. So so the easiest thing is, if you're not talking to the folks on the, if you don't need the folks on the line to talk to you, in other words, if you don't have to open their line, then your USB mic into GoToWebinar out over the standard GoToWebinar voice over IP is going to be just fine. If you need folks to talk to you, then you could add the telephone option as well, and then people can either talk to you through the GoToWebinar panel using, you know, the built-in voice over IP, or they'll dial in to the GoToWebinar conference line, and you'll hear them over GoToWebinar. Either way, GoToWebinar produces the sound from the conference line, and it also broadcasts your mic out, and then Camtasia records it all. So that's the simplest of all configurations. Good so far?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Now, let's talk about if you actually want to use a separate conference line. So let's say that the audio, so you have your headset here. You have your headset and mic. I know that doesn't look like a headset, but just go with me. That's your headset and mic. And it's going to, so we'll put here, this is your telephone basically. And this is going to your Carefree, let's just say it's Carefree conference call, right? Which is your conference line audio. And then this is broadcasting to your audience. Now, if you don't need your audience to talk to you, then you're okay, because then you can take another microphone, okay, and by USB, this could be the mic or the headset, okay, either or. And again, you put that into your computer, and GoToWebinar will broadcast, but this is going to be only the visuals. Now, why do you have this USB mic here at all then if it's going to be only the visuals? Because what you want to record with Camtasia is you on the mic, not you on the phone. So you're using the headset on the phone to talk to your audience. They're looking at the GoToWebinar visuals, but you behind the scenes are talking into a USB mic because you want to record your natural voice, not your phone voice. Now this will record the phone, you'll get a phone recording out of this, but for your production, ideally, you want to, now this is again optional, right? This is if you want to use, if you want to get high quality voice recording, right? So in this case, and by the way, if you don't need high quality voice recording, then you just use this conference line, and then you use the GoToWebinar for the visuals. And then what you'll need to do later is you can do one of two things. If you don't want to hook up all of that hardware, then what you'll do is you'll do a countdown on your screen, right? So you get some slides and it'll say 3, 2, 1, 0. And you'll, as those slides appear, you'll be saying 3, 2, 1, 0. And that way you'll be able to synchronize the audio track with the video track when you mix them in Camtasia to produce it. So in other words, what you're going to do for production is you're going to get Camtasia, and it's going to have the video recorded. Then what you're going to do is you're going to download the MP3 and put it here as the audio from the conference line, and then that produces your whatever, your MP4, let's say. Okay, so this is a little trickier because you have to take the phone audio and add it to your Camtasia, and then you have to synchronize these two tracks. And the way you do it is just, you know, have a countdown at the beginning and then synchronize your voice with the countdown visuals on the screen, and then you're all good to go. Okay. Now the tricky part here is, well, it's not so tricky actually. So if you leave it this way, here's what's tricky about it. If you engage with your audience and you open their line here and they're talking to you, now the problem is you've got a voice quality and you've got a phone quality, and it's a lot of work to bridge two audio tracks and to remove your voice from one track so that, you know, so if you're going to do that, if you're going to open the audience line in this configuration, I recommend one of two things. Either you get some of the hardware that I showed you, or you just don't do this part. Because trying to mix the audio, trying to mix the high quality audio into the track here, because remember, this is a mono track. This isn't produced as, if this was two separate tracks and you could replace one with the other, then you're okay. But this is going to be just a straight MP3 file mono, and it's really time consuming to remove your voice from the phone line to put the microphone into it. So I wouldn't recommend you do that. So if you're going to be using this configuration where you're talking on the headset and your audience is talking back to you, and you want to record that two-way conversation, then I would forego the USB mic. Just go ahead and take the audio track from the conference, put it into the Camtasia, synchronize it with the video, and you're done. Okay, and then of course, what ideally you'll want to do is you'll have that hardware that I showed you, or some. Now, you know, the other thing. Okay, there's another thing that you can do, and this is assuming you want to use like a conference line, like Carefree conference line. And this is where your audience is. And then, so you're on the headset. Okay, you're the phone, talking on the conference line. What you can do is you can use like a jack. You can get this at Radio Shack or at JK Audio, that actually plugs your what's going on the phone into the line in to your computer. You can put it into your sound card. Usually it's a phono jack, so it'll go into your sound card, and then Camtasia will actually record the audio in real time, so you don't have to go mix them in a little bit later.
No way you're recording phone quality sound in the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right. This is going to be phone quality sound. If you want to do what I'm doing now, where you actually have the audience separate from your voice and your voice is in high quality, you need to have either a mixer in hardware, or you need a mixer software. So say, for example, and I know that there is one of these for the Mac, but I don't know because I never used it on the PC. But what you want to do is you want to have a piece of recording software that will allow you to take your USB mic as one track. So you need a multi-track recording software, and then you use the phone jack as the other track, and then you record the video with Camtasia, and then at the end of it you take this recording and put it into Camtasia. Again, you have to synchronize the two, right? But this is a piece of software. I'm sure it must exist somewhere. I just never used it because you see your microphone is going to come over a USB input, and your phono jack, if you have this little piece, and you could get this for like $15. It's just something, an adapter that goes from your wall or your phone, and it plugs into your sound card, right? And then so you're going to have this as your phono jack, You have this as your USB. So you need a piece of software that can record both of them separately. And so you'll probably want to just look for multi-track recording software. Try something, I don't know if it'll work, but try something like Total Recorder. .com. Okay. And then in this case, what you're doing again is you're keeping the audio, you're keeping the communication with your audience nice and solid and everything, and you're just kind of siphoning it from the wall into your computer, but you're mixing in your voice here on the mic.
So this headset that you were talking about here is going to be just for the phone. It's going to be not a USB headset. It's going to be something else.
Yeah, if you want to do it this way, yes. If you want, I mean, you could put a USB headset here, you know, and just this could be your USB headset here. But then you know then you really don't need. Then you're going to have two headsets on, right? One to talk to your audience, and one to record your voice. So in that case, it's just more convenient physically to have a mic instead of a headset.
Okay. If you have a mic, you won't be listening. You won't be monitoring that line at all. You'll just be using the mic to record your voice.
That's right.
Monitor on a phone line or something else with a headset.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to monitor from the phone line into a recording, you need some of that hardware I was showing you last time. Okay, but if you don't, I mean, to get started, I would probably just recommend, you know, use a USB headset or mic, go into GoToWebinar and just use the built-in voice over IP to get started. And then at least you're recording your voice in high quality. And frankly, if you don't have to engage with the audience, if you don't have to open their lines and be able to listen to them, I mean, just get them to type their questions in the Q&A box, and that'll save you a world of trouble. That's the easiest of all configurations. Just you on a mic into GoToWebinar, broadcasting with the default voice over IP. Now, when you want to back up and you want to have all those advantages that we were talking about last time, then you want a separate audio channel. Then you start needing an extra. Then what you'll do is you'll talk to your audience over your audio channel. You'll show them the visuals over the GoToWebinar, and then you'll just record your own voice separately through the mic. Now, they don't hear this coming over the mic, right? They're just going to hear what's going on from your headset. But your software on your computer is recording your voice quality in natural quality rather than phone quality, which is great if, you know, especially if you're going to use them for a product rather than, you know, just I mean, not everything has to be studio quality. You know, some opt-in things and some things you throw in for marketing, they don't need to be high quality, but your products, it's always great if you can have them in high quality.
All right, thank you.
Okay, does that help?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. And let's head over to the next call. Okay, Jake, all right. I actually worked with Jake. I worked with Jake by email, so we're all good to go with Jake. I don't know if this may be helpful for you, kind of as a just as a little bit of learning. What Jake was writing in about is he was looking for a way to do something, you know, trying to add Google Conversion Tracker to Thesis. And if you're not familiar with Thesis, you know, Thesis is a framework. It's not a theme. It's a framework. And so there are, you know, there's a particular way that you have to go in and change the coding on it. And it's not entirely obvious all the time unless you kind of know the theme. So he was trying to add Google Conversion Tracker. I asked him if he'd had a chance to look around and try the support for him. He says yes. The best we could do is create a custom page template. And then so I kind of said, well, you don't want to do that? You know, I mean, why bother, you know, trying to find another solution if that will work? Why not do that? And he said, well, you know, because I didn't know how to do it, and you know, I didn't know how to edit a page template, and I don't want to learn it, and all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, yeah, or you could just pay one of the designers $100 and get it done, right? So I think this was an interesting conversation because it's really indicative of how nefarious, how subtle this whole technology of the internet is. Because everything, it's kind of like when you hire a contractor and you start off painting the rooms, and then you paint the rooms, you go, well, maybe the floor should be done, and then after you do the floor, you go, well, the living room looks good. Maybe we should do the kitchen. By the time you do the, what started off as $1,000 investment turns out to be 50,000, right? So it's the same thing with technology. It can vary. It's very seductive, right? Because everybody just tells you how easy it is, how all you have to do is X, Y, Z, and so you get into this frame of mind that, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. But and thankfully, by the end of it, Jake kind of said, this is the thing that makes a whole lot of sense. It's probably cost me more than that in lost ad spend and poor converting keywords, right? In other words, $100 to fix the page and would have optimized this conversion and gotten a few sales. You would have more than paid for the $100 to make the change, but not to mention the opportunity cost, not to mention the frustration of it all, and so on. So be aware that the technology of the internet can lure you in. It has this siren song. It's very seductive, and there's always this feeling like it's just one little fix, one little change. But it's not. It's a rabbit hole, and it's a slippery slope. And if you can get out of it with by paying $150, $50, $100, $150, do it more often than not, because your scarcest resource is not money, it's time. And so wherever possible, make sure you're trading that off to your advantage. So Jake, thanks for giving us the opportunity to talk about that. Okay, hope this gets to you. I sent an email a couple days back asking about presentation domination. Well, yeah, they wouldn't know about that at support. That was just something I was promoting on my own. So I thought I'd try this email instead. Okay. I never on the calls because I don't have a phone. Not a fan of phones, really. Okay, well, you can always Skype in if you like, David. You don't have to phone in, but and then you can listen to it on your computer. But it's cool. Doing it by replays is even better. Awesome stuff. Thanks. Okay, so I'm on the verge of getting Ryan's Presentation Domination Pro package, but just before finding out about this, I was considering another seemingly similar type of platform called OptimizePress. Now, I'm assuming you know about it and thus the difference between the two. Obviously, you have a bias here due to Lou Recommends, but it would help me if you could provide a little comparative to nudge me over the edge. Okay, so so first I want to take the opportunity to say to you that first and foremost, when I'm on these calls with you, I am your coach. I am not an affiliate marketer. I'm not promoting my stuff. I only recommend my stuff when I have something that I really think is going to be the right thing for you. So please don't ever misunderstand or doubt that. If I recommend something to you, especially if we're doing Q&A like this, I'm really going to recommend what I think is in your best interests first. And then if it happens to be something that I'm involved with, I'll let you know. But I won't recommend it unless I think it's the right thing for you. Okay, so please know that. The second thing is there's a difference between the presentation domination and OptimizePress. So what OptimizePress is going to do for you, it will actually create your opt-in pages and your sales pages. It's a WordPress theme. And it will create opt-in pages and sales pages, and it will, if you know the product launch formula process, it will actually make that very easy for you by creating web page templates that have video 1, video 2, video 3, the sales video, and that whole process of the product launch formula is built right in. It has a number of codes inside the WordPress when you're posting into the WordPress. Actually, it's based on pages, not posts, technically. So when you create a new page in OptimizePress, you choose from a series of templates, and you say, I want this to be a squeeze page, or I want this to be a sales letter, or I want this to be a membership page, and so on. So the function of OptimizePress is to manage your opt-in, your sales, and then to deliver your product through a membership site. Okay, that's essentially what it's meant to do. It does not do any kind of event registration, event replay, and things like that. Now, you could, of course, put an opt-in page on OptimizePress and then bring them to a page where it replays, but then it won't have the registration and choosing a particular date and time and scheduling it and then replaying it in a way that people feel like it's kind of live. It doesn't have RTMP, it doesn't have streaming, it doesn't have any hosting for audio video. So they're actually two different purposes, right? Now, if you buy into the idea that what helps people attend your events and actually, show up and listen, pay attention, and so on, if you buy into the idea that if you have a fixed date and time when all this is happening, and that they're more likely to get it on your calendar and more likely to actually consume the content and therefore more likely to buy or to take the action that you want them to, then you're going to want something like presentation domination, because that's really what it's intending to do. It is simulating a live event by hosting your video, your webinar recording, and then allowing people to get a registration page, to choose the date and time they want to appear, and then to only play back that video, the webinar replay, during that date and time. Okay, and so they're actually two very separate and distinct functions, and I think they're both great packages for what they do, and you may need one or the other depending on your strategy. If your strategy is to automate your webinar replays and to drive traffic to a page where people register for an event, but they're not necessarily attending a live event, they're just listening to the replay, then you will need something like, if not presentation domination, there are other programs available, but that's what you want. You want an automatic webinar replay kind of system. If what you want to do is create opt-in pages, sales letters, you want to run product launches, and then you want to deliver your products through a WordPress environment, then you're going to use OptimizePress. Okay, so that's the difference between the two, and depending on what it is you want to accomplish, one will do the job better than the other, and they both do their jobs very well. I should say they both do their respective jobs very well. Okay, so David, if you have a follow-up, feel free to send another email. Ulrika says, what happened to the Rhodes SEO replay? Okay, so any questions about replays are probably best sent to the support team, but I believe that it's in the members area now, so nothing happened to it. It takes a couple of days for these things to get recorded and uploaded and downloaded and edited and produced and all that kind of thing. So it's I'm pretty sure it's there now. In fact, I'm not logged in. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's there now. I created a no navigation page inside my blog with links to a sales mini site, now securely set up with DL Guard as you suggested, to serve as an Aweber success page for a specific list. Wow, that's a handful. Okay, I marked it no index, no follow. I'd like to check with you that I'm doing okay and don't risk to get my sales letter indexed, or does it matter? I don't think it matters if you get your sales letter indexed. And frankly, the chances of it getting indexed in a very competitive market are probably not that high anyway, right? Because it's a sales letter. It's not like a blog where there's a lot of dynamic content, and there's not going to be a lot of links from different sites to that sales letter. All of the links are going to come to your opt-in page probably anyway. So I don't particularly think it's a bad thing for it to get indexed, but and I think that chances are if anything's going to get indexed, it's going to be your opt-in page probably, because that's where you're going to have links and pointers from from YouTube and from Squidoo and from articles and all that kind of thing. So probably wouldn't worry too much about that. Let me see. Now this one you probably want to make sure that it doesn't get indexed, because that's where your download page, that's where your download incentive is going to be. So for that, you should probably pay a little extra care. Sales letter, I don't worry about too much. These, frankly, I don't worry too much about these either, because if it happens to be indexed, if it's a good marketing piece and somebody happens to find it on Google and downloads it, I don't really mind, right? Because if they actually consume it, the job of that incentive is to, in fact, sell my product. So, hey, if you want to download it, yes, I missed the opt-in, but I'm still getting my marketing stuff out there. So, it's not ideal, but if it does happen that this page gets indexed, I don't really mind too much. But if you marked it no index, no follow, that's good. And is it better to say? No, I think you're doing okay. Yeah, I think you're doing okay. So what it looks like is, so you've got the Aweber success page, you've got the sales letter. Both of them don't appear, neither one of them appear on the navigation, which is excellent. That's what you want. And they link to the sales mini site. and it's marked as no index, no follow, so it should probably not get archived. And be sure also it doesn't appear in your sitemap. So if you have a sitemap generator, just be sure that there's no link to it. So as long as there isn't a link to these pages, the success page and your sales letter page, then you stand a pretty good chance that Google won't find it and index it. But if you do use the no index, no follow, then you're probably going to be extra safe as well. Okay, and worst case is if they do get indexed, no problem. If people see your sales letter and they happen to get there and they buy stuff, not a bad thing. And if people see your opt-in incentive and they download it and it helps them to buy, then that's not a bad thing either, right? So I think you're doing fine, and these are things we don't worry too much about if people do find them. And yeah, we may lose a couple of opt-ins, but Google's spreading the word, and that's a good thing. Okay. All right, very good. And this is, by the way, so Ulrika, you'll have the first spot on Thursday then. So if you would like to be one of the people that gets a strategy coaching request, this is one where we're going to spend a little bit more time on each one of your, something that you're working on, opt-in page, sales funnel, product creation, whatever. We'll spend 15, 20, 25 minutes with you. So if you want one of those slots, we'll do up to 3 on Thursday. Just send an email with strategy coaching request in the subject line, let me know. And if you're one of the first 3 and you haven't been on before, I'm going to give preference to those who haven't received one yet first. So if you've already done a strategy coaching session, if someone else requests one that hasn't had one, we're going to give them preference. But if they don't, you're more than welcome to get another call. Ross says, I'm at the point where I'm ready to launch a couple of websites to try some new ideas. I need a Java interactive map of the United States for one, and a meetup.com/Facebook type of networking apparatus. I don't know what that means. Sounds like something you hang off while you're bouncing off the buildings. What do they call those things? Rappelling. Yeah, okay. Networking apparatus. Are there companies or services you know of who could provide me with an easy to edit version of those websites at a good price? I actually don't know. Does anybody, if you're on the call and you know where Ross can get I guess either a blog theme or templates that have an interactive map of the United States. And, I got to believe that some of the themes will have a Facebook type of networking. If you, you could also look at BuddyPress and what's the other one? There's a couple of social plugins. You should look up the plugins in the WordPress database because I think BuddyPress is the one that most people use. It gives you kind of a social networking, Facebooky type thing within a blog environment. So that might be one thing you could try. Look up WordPress themes, Facebook style WordPress themes in Google and see if you can find anything. I have not seen anything like this, an interactive map of the United States anywhere that I can point to. I mean, I've seen one, I just haven't seen one available for sale. Here, let's see, Java map. Look at this, Google. Maybe Google will have the answer here. Oh, no, just a bunch of stuff. Yeah, does anybody, if you're on the call, just Woo Themes has one, says Todd. Okay, let's have a look at that. Todd, what do you think they have? The Facebooky thing or the Java map, the map thing? What are you thinking about? Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to leave it to you, Ross, to have a look through here because I'm not 100% sure. What's Todd thinking of? I know one of their themes for travel had a map. I think it was Postcard. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, okay. Maybe we'll look for a Postcard here. Postcard. Okay, there you go. There's a map. I'm not sure if that's what you need, Ross, but it's JavaScript. It looks like Google Map, actually. Google Maps embedded onto the site. So I'm not 100% sure that that's going to do what you want there for you, Ross. I think you probably, if I understand it correctly, I'm thinking you probably want something like time.gov, something like this, right? An interactive map like this. So yeah, I'm not sure, but anyway, I don't happen to know one, and you might want to check the postcard theme. I got to think that if you want to do something like this, you should be able to get someone to code it for you fairly easily, because all you're really doing is highlighting what part of the map is going to activate a click through to something. So I don't imagine that this is a very complex thing for a competent JavaScript designer to do. But I don't really know what you want to do. When you say interactive, I don't know if that means you just want to get time zones, whether you want them to drill down on it, you want to see a street level, whether you want them to bounce over to another website or something. So I really don't know. But if you want to do something like this, I think it would be a fairly easy thing to do at Rent-A-Coder or Digital Forums or Elance or something like that. I think probably have good luck doing that. And then check the Woo themes. And then as far as what was the other thing again? Yeah, the Facebook type of thing. Try have a look at BuddyPress. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that that'll give you kind of a social environment in the WordPress, a social functionality capability in the WordPress environment. Okay, and sorry I can't be of more help. I'm just really not familiar with any other options there. And would love to know if you find something, Ross. If you happen to come across something, let us know. It's always good to share the word. Jonathan, SEO, how do I balance the need for URLs to be simple and relative to the site in question with the need for them to be descriptive and unique across the internet? Example of descriptive, mastermind group of Napoleon Hill. Example of simple, product solution about us home. Well, yeah, but I mean, this is not a whole URL, right? Example of a site that uses simple URLs. Okay, let's go here. I'm not seeing any URLs here. I'm just seeing the same URL at the top all the time. Let's see, contact us. Yeah, the URL doesn't change at all here. So I'm not sure what that's demonstrating. And example of a site that uses descriptive URLs. Yeah, okay, so so I think you're talking about these, right? You're not talking just about the domain, you're talking about these. And so my solution to this really is, this is Blogger, so I don't know if you can do it with Blogger. But my solution to this is to use WordPress in a way that I have the title so that it's friendly to the reader, and then I specify my own URL using the SEO function. Like in WordPress, you can actually tell it what you want to use as your URL. By default, it uses the title of the post and it transforms it into the URL, but you always have the option to change it. And so what I tend to do is and remember, more often than not, people aren't necessarily clicking on these links. What you're using these for is to help Google index your site and to retrieve your data. So you want this to be as keyword rich and as SEO friendly as possible. But by default, it's going to typically use, see, like the name of this post here is optimization of domains URLs, and that's what the blog will do, is it'll take your title and turn it into the URL. Well, in WordPress, you can override that. And so if your title is not SEO optimized, SEO friendly, then just replace it and use something that is. Now, when you're not expecting people to to type these links out, then you can make them as long and descriptive as you want, right? Because if people are just going to generally get there by clicking a link from from an article or from your blog or something else, then make them as long as you want. On the other hand, if they're going to be links that you're going to ask people to type in, like when you're promoting something on a webinar or on a conference call or whatever, then in that case, the shorter the better. In that case, don't worry too much about, you want to think about the purpose for the URL, right? In that case, the purpose for the URL is to make it really easy for people to know what to type it in quickly, and find you without making an error. So you want those URLs to be as short and as unambiguous as possible. But in your blog itself, by all means, take full advantage of the ability to replace the URL with something that's as keyword rich as you want. And if you are, for example, on Blogger, where it's just going to take your title and turn it into a URL, well, don't worry about it. Make the title primarily optimized for the reader, but you could definitely SEO optimize this. Like, let's say, for example, optimization of domains and URLs, you might put in here at the title SEO for domains, optimizing your domains and URLs, right? And then in that way, you're telling Blogger what to use here. You're starting to use keywords like SEO at the beginning. So you can put here SEO : for example, optimizing your domains and URLs. That makes sense for the reader, but it's also very Google friendly because it has the keyword SEO at the front of the line, right? So I guess my answer to you, to make it, to sort of wrap things up, is think about what the purpose of it is. If the purpose is to optimize for your SEO, then make it keyword rich. Put your main keywords at the front of the title, and then write the rest of the title so it's friendly to the reader, because ultimately this is for the reader in terms of your content, right? And if they're never going to click on it, then override that and put as long and as keyword rich a URL as you want. And if you want them to type on it, then don't worry so much about SEO. Think about having them remember your domain and being able to type it and find you very readily. Okay, that's kind of I think those are pretty much the guidelines that I use for myself. Okay, hopefully that answered your question. Let's see, Lou, Jonathan again. Your content is great and I really enjoy how well you relate to the participants. Thank you, Jonathan. There's one software change to make it easier for the participants. Admin, enable coaching call registration with one click from our emails. Okay, so I know this is possible in your system because Evan sent me an email. Brought me media. Yeah, I don't. Maybe that's possible. You know what? I think that's a good idea, but I know that there are reasons why we don't do this right now, and I don't really know the reasons. So I'm going to forward this to our admin team and let them have a look at it. I think it's a good suggestion. If there's a way that we can do it without compromising the objectives that they have for doing it the other way, then I think it's an awesome idea, and I'll certainly pass that along. Thank you, Jonathan. Julie. Just checking in with you to let you know my progress. Yeah, by the way, Julie, and I think there was one other person, I can't remember right now, who actually followed up after the coaching calls last time and sent me, even though on the phone call you committed to me that you were going to follow up with me, Julie is the only one so far that's followed up. So congratulations, Julie, on keeping your word and taking action. So let me see. Take a look at my website and you'll see changes in copywriting and photos and all the pages. Oh yeah, that's already looking, something about this looks different already. I don't remember, did you have this big wide thing here? Huh. Okay, nice. So let me see, could you use a free speed and power secret delivered to your inbox every Tuesday? Nice. Finally, the unparalleled speed, strength, and stamina you've always wanted. There you go. Increase your running, improve your recovery off the bench, develop your focus and agility on the court. Very nice. So the only thing that I'm going to say here is, because this is your home page, you're addressing a couple of different, your football, basketball. No, this is probably, I don't know where this is, could be all of them, and then this is basketball. So that's probably okay for your homepage, but what you want to do is think about doing this in a similar way. And as you write articles specifically for your basketball players, then make all 3 bullets relative to the benefits that the basketball players will see. And when you write a post that's going to be helpful to your baseball players, give them the benefits that are relevant to them, right? But I love where you're going with this. Running speed, improve your recovery, and develop your agility, focus and agility. And then could you use a free speed and power secret? So you know what I think would make this really cool here is a free speed and power secret that will do what? What's the big payoff to this secret? Delivered to your inbox every Tuesday. Oh, sorry. I take it back. I get it. So this is what they'll get if they subscribe. Okay. Yeah, awesome. So I'd really be interested to know how that's converting for you. Is that doing any better for you? Because it's looking pretty good. It's a nice shift of focus, though. Yeah, getting there. Very nice. Good job. I've changed out titles, headlines, and description, and take a look at my blog. Notice the headline. All right, let's have a look. With weird yoga exercise. All right. I love it. Athletes get faster recovery with weird yoga exercise. That's so cool. Good. So you're starting to put everything that we talked about into action. Fantastic. And then at the bottom, there's another sign-up form at the end of the post. Great. So the only what I'd like to ask you to do is to see if you can only have this appear when I'm reading the full post, as opposed to right now. See, I'm at the blog, right? So I'm reading all of your posts. There's 2 and 3 and so on. So whenever there's read more on the pages, let them go to read more. And then when I drill down into the specific post, excuse me, that's when I want to see the opt-in page, right? Because otherwise it may look a little bit too opt-in-y. It might look a little too aggressive if you've got, every post has an opt-in box with it while they're scrolling down. Okay, but I love it. Everything else is looking real good. Okay, so here is where I would probably want to put. Could you use a free, because you don't have all the rest of the stuff on the opt-in that describes what they're getting. So maybe you want to put something here. Could you use a free? Could you use a free speed and power secret delivered to your inbox every Tuesday? Sign up below for instant access. Okay. What I would do here is test that against something like your competition's getting a free speed and power secret delivered free to their inbox every Tuesday. Can you afford not to have the same? Sign up and get yours. Right? So, play a little bit on the fact that, hey, other people are building up their speed and power and you're not. And then maybe even test something else that says free speed and power secret helps, and then roll up the advantages that you talked about. So free speed and power secret, where's the home page? That helps you increase your running speed on the field, improve your recovery off the bench, develop your focus and agility on the court every Tuesday. Sign up and below. So in other words, tell them what this is, the free speed and power secret. So I would test all 3. And over time just kind of see which one pulls the best. This is something that I really recommend you play with this headline, and every couple of hundred visits try a new angle just to see which one's gonna work the best for you. Okay, and see if you can get to the point where you're getting 10, 15, 20% of the people that come to your page. Of course, on this particular one you're not going to see as much, but yeah, see how high you can get this. And then what I'd like you to also add is when I come to your home page, the first time I want you to pop up a light box with a nice graphic that looks like editions of the report. If I have a year's worth of magazines, if I fan them, what they look like, and have a graphic that has like 12 speed and power secrets in a fan, with an arrow to your inbox or something, and say free speed and power secret tips, help you increase your running speed, help you improve your recovery, develop your focus, get yours delivered to your inbox every Tuesday, $97 absolutely free, or something like that. Okay, and let that pop up in a light box and see if you can get that light box to convert at 10 or 15%. Okay, because this one here, it's great, but the only problem is people develop a blindness to this top right corner, right? As they're reading your blog, they're going to focus on the content, and if they're used to it, they're going to see this thing here, but they're going to kind of ignore it. We all develop this kind of blindness. So take advantage by when they first come onto your site, once a day, pop up something that comes, that they can't miss. and see if you can build the list that way as well. And otherwise, you're doing great because you've got the opt-in box here. You've got the opt-in box at the bottom. And I love it. That's a real good focus on list building. Fantastic. Julie, you're doing great. Great, great, great. Oh, now you've got a vlog too, a vlog. Beautiful. Look at you. Good work. Athlete videos. Oh, very nice. Julie Downey, performance videos. Is this yours, Access Athletes, Julie? Or are you just like a guest vlogger? I don't mean just. I mean, that's great if you are. But I mean, it's not your site. It looks like it's something you're just you're guest blogging on, right? Let's have a look. My vlog on Access Athletes. Okay, great. It looks like it is yours. This is the group the group I'm blogging for once a month. It just got posted. Very nice. Okay, on the offline agenda, I just received the roster and permission to contact each player on the Rice University Baseball, 35 players, so I'll begin with them tomorrow. Beautiful. I interviewed 6 women's tennis team players by phone, so my marketing interviews are coming along. I've had a second interview, presentation demonstration with the Houston Rockets, and the head strength coach said he would have no hesitation, would highly recommend me to any player on his team. Oh, that is fantastic. Fantastic. So what's next? Are you gonna take that and put a program together for his folks? That's really fantastic. Oh, hear back from him by the end of the week, and if all works out, begin working with the players June 1st. Oh, Julie, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Look at you. You are totally rocking it, girl. You're doing absolutely everything right, and you keep doing this, and traffic will start coming to your site in droves. Keep blogging, okay? Because that's important. See if you can blog 2 or 3 times a week if you're not already. That'll really help your SEO, and it'll really get those keywords of speed, performance, and power and focus. You know, but remember too, in your case, don't just use in your post. Don't just use words like speed and power. Use things like athletic speed and power on the football field or whatever else, because you want to tell Google that you have a very specific place, a specific audience for speed, power, and focus. Right? We're not talking about airplanes or race car drivers here, and we're not talking about weightlifters or anything. You're talking about specific kinds of athletes. So make sure you use those modifiers in your keywords in your post, so Google gets a sense of who to bring to your site. All right, fantastic. Congratulations, Julie. That is awesome. And please send me your next update so we can share it with everybody. And boy, I'm really excited about the things that are happening here. This is great. I want you to also come on and let us know once you hear back how this is going to shape up, like what your goals are for that. Is it just that, is this part of the thing that you wanted to do to get a larger audience at once so that you don't have to work so hard to handle, you were saying it was really tiring to do as many sessions as you were doing before. So I'm guessing that this is going to help by putting a lot of people in front of you, fewer sessions, more people, higher price, and so on. That's going to handle that situation, right? And then hopefully, will that turn into any kind of video membership or ongoing training with them or something? I'd be interested to know if you had any thoughts on that as well. But I love it, and thank you for checking in. That is really awesome. Congratulate you and high five, Julie. Great job. You're the best. All right, that takes care of our mailbag, and let's see what we got here in the Q&A box. Okay, I see somebody in Houston, Texas. Is that you, Julie, with your hand up?
Hi, Lou. It's me. Can you hear me?
It is. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. And yes, you were asking the question if that's going to lead to what I want, and ultimately, I'd like to create a product based off of what I do with, whether it's a basketball team or a tennis team or football. These interviews have really been helping me a lot, the marketing interviews. Mm-hmm. So that's my intention, and also to charge more for each individual session. So yeah, it kind of accomplishes everything in one fell swoop. If the Rockets will go forward, they're facing a lockout, and so things are kind of moving at a slower pace than I initially thought they would be. But the fact that he brought me in for the second, for the presentation demo, and we did an hour-and-a-half session, and he really, really liked it. So I'm hopeful.
Beautiful. What were the things that seemed to excite him the most about what you were doing and the benefits that he perceived it was going to bring to his team?
Well, when I met with him, I asked him to tell me what he wanted. Like, what do you want for the session? And he's a real technical guy. So he said, I want something to address ankle problems, dorsiflexion. I want something to address hip tightness and hip mobility and hip flexors and lower back pain. And then he said, and I want something to address stress, like a relaxation sequence. So I started with the feet, and I worked my way down the list with exact techniques. And so while I was taking him through the session, I would tell him, this is what we're doing this for this. And because he's a technical kind of an anatomy and physiology guy, I use those terms with him. And at the end, and in the middle, he told me, well, a lot of my guys are in a boot. They get hurt and they've got a boot and they can't bear weight. And I said, okay, let's do this. So I put him on the floor, and we did everything reclined or side lying, because if you're non-weight bearing, you're not going to stand on your legs. And he loved it. And then the final part was the relaxation. So I extended that to 15 minutes instead of 5, because he had talked about a 5-minute relaxation, and I thought, oh no, we're going to do 15. And so when he got up from the relaxation, he was like, wow, I've never done a class like that. And I said, tell me more. I wanted to hear this. And then he went in and he said, I would recommend you to any player. He said, I wouldn't hesitate. And at that moment, I was like, can I use that on my website? But it was kind of like an interview audition thing. And so I just said, well, thank you. And he said, I wish I could tell you right now that, you're in and we're ready to go. He said, but I have to present it to administration, and I have to present to the players, and we have to get it all in place before this lockout happens, which is supposed to happen July 1st. So I'm thinking by the end of this week, I'll make contact, just touch base with him, and find out, if he wants me to hold space in my schedule, like we had talked about. I'm hoping he'll say yes. And then it'll go from there, and I'll actually be working one-on-one with players rather than in a group, which in a way is even better, because I can dig a little deeper in terms of each guy's frustration. And Lou, you'll like this. He said, when you teach a class for my guys, he said, can you connect it back to being on the court? And I said, absolutely. I thought of the marketing stuff. So
Yeah.
It was cool.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. Well, let's hope that they know that there is no lockout, and that they have lots of incentive to work with you.
Yes, I'm looking forward. And then, of course, the interviews with the baseball team. I think once I have 35 baseball players, marketing interviews, that would really be useful in terms of either creating they're going to work with me as a group in the fall. They're off during the summer. But in terms of creating a product, that'll be huge, because I'll have the whole team's input, which I think will be really valuable. And the tennis team I interviewed today, and I was able to give each player, this is women's tennis, but through the interview I'd listen for what their problem or frustration was, and then because they're a student, I don't really feel comfortable pushing to close, for a paid kind of session. So I give them a takeaway, like 1 or 2 exercises to start working with, and I ask them to commit to doing it every day and then report back to me, their progress. So we'll see what happens with that, but I felt like that went very well.
Excellent.
And each player was all excited that they had something they could try. so I liked it, right? And as far as my website, I have a question. The way the WordPress thing is, the sidebar is only going to show up one way. Like, I can key in a new thing where it says, could you use a free Speed and Power secret on the right, but it won't let me have, like, let's say on the blog page, it won't let me change it and be different on that page. Every page's sidebar is the same.
Oh, yeah, but that's okay. I guess what I'm thinking is, run it for, like, I don't know, 500 visitors, and then
Okay.
change it for the next 500, and then change it for the next 500. Just to see which one tends to get more response.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then on the first blog, like this was last week's blog, that weird yoga exercise thing on the blog,
Mm-hmm.
do you say to just put read more, just run the title and then say read more? Is that what you meant when
Yeah.
you said?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure. Maybe it looks like this theme is actually expanding the first post and then contracting the rest of them, which is okay. But yeah, the way I was thinking about it was that all of your posts would look sort of like this, and
Okay.
and you could have like a photograph in here to spice it up a little bit, and then you would have the headline plus the teaser copy, and then the read more, and then when they go to read more, and they get the full post, then at the bottom you'll have your opt-in page under your opt-in box here.
Got it. And then over on the right, I have one other question where it says archive. That was something where you had talked with me once before about having people opt in to get to those. So should I drop that archive thing and do the light box that you suggested where you could receive the archives?
No, not
that
that's a different kind of archives actually. These archives are just basically older posts that you have, but you want to keep those on because Google will index them, and then you want those to be discovered, and that's going to help your SEO, right? You're going to have a lot of pages indexed and a lot of content, so you want to keep these as it is. The ones we were talking about is like, say for example, you wanted to incentivize people to opt in. That you would say to them, this is one of 10 videos. If you want the other ones, they're archived away. Just opt in and you can get access to them.
Got it. Okay, that's cool. So I just need to have a light box opt-in pop up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you put that on the blog or the home page?
Well, the way you would set it up is it would appear, you would put it into every page, but it would drop a cookie so that no matter where they land, the first time they'll see the light box, but every time after that, the cookie will say, well, they've already seen it for today, and then it won't display anymore.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, well, thank you for all your coaching. This is really, really helpful to me. I appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome, and congratulations on taking action, and I can't wait for you to tell us how all this pans out. I hope you're working towards, the goal here is to create your products and get them online and then sell some membership, and then also have some nice big groups that are going to pay you premium, right? Are we on track with those goals?
Yes, well, the big groups pay me premium. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm working on it.
That's where you're headed, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm headed.
Beautiful.
And yes, the ultimate destination is either a membership site or actual products that'll be sold. And I don't know which way to go yet with that, but I feel like over time it'll unfold to me.
Okay.
Or I'll just try one, and if it doesn't work, we'll go the other way.
I love that. Great attitude.
Okay.
Fantastic, Julie. High five. You're doing awesome.
Thanks so much.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Well, I know who our superstar for this month is going to be. Great job, Julie. I'm really proud of you. Okay. Let's see. We have a few more questions, and we may actually be able to finish this close to 9:30. Let me see. So Carla says, I've taken some action on your laser coaching. Oh, great. Carla, too. All right. If you'd like to take a look at what I put up, relievemychronicpain.com. Am I on the right track now? Carla, if you're on the call, you want to raise your hand with a *2, I will open your line and we can talk as I go through this. relievemychronicpain.com.
Hi, I'm Carla Royal, and I'm thrilled that you're here because I'm going to show you the secrets that...
This is looking really good, girl. Yep. Oh, there's your line. Good. Let me open it up. Hi, Carla.
Hey, Lou. How are you?
Doing great. I love what you've done
Good.
so far here.
You sound much better with your coughing.
Yeah. Thank you. I think I'm on the other side of it now. Okay. So walk me through, because I'm not sure what changes you made, but tell me what's new here.
Well, before I had to transform chronic pain, and I didn't have an opt-in page, and I really just didn't have a direction at all. I was thinking about doing the myofascial pain, and I've changed the entire look of my site. and I've yeah. So
I love the way this looks, and
I mean,
I love that your home page is basically an opt-in page. One thing I will ask you to do here is here, instead of saying sign up today, put another opt-in box right here at the bottom.
okay.
Right, and then there will be
Alright,
some people
yeah.
who will opt in right up at the top, and then for those who read through and they listen to you. By the way, great job with the autoplay audio
Most
there. That's
women
nice.
who live with
It's a
chronic
really nice
pain
touch.
will never.
And then as they read through, and then they feel like, wow, this is really great. I want to know more. Then this is a great place to just have the opt-in right there ready for them.
Mhm.
Okay, so excellent.
Yeah.
I like
did
the
my-
looks of this a lot better. This feels a lot cleaner, a lot more
Yeah. me
organized
too.
and professional, huh?
It really does. Yeah.
Nice.
And I got my 10 biggest mistakes written and done. And I really haven't started on, I mean, I've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just in the beginning stages.
it's looking really great, though. It's looking really great. And here you have chronic pain support, about Carla, contact. So these are pages, right? They're not categories.
They're pages,
They're
right?
pages,
and
okay.
and the chronic pain support is where I'll probably put, what I'm offering in terms of coaching and things like that.
Good.
The about Carla pages is my sort of my story.
Mm-hmm.
The conversion story on the about Carla page.
Excellent. Oh,
and
very nice.
then what I offer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's coming. That's starting to shape up really nicely.
And then on my blog,
Don't forget about the terms of service and privacy policy and those links down here, right? You'll want to add those to your blog at some point. It's not urgent, but it's something you'll want at some point because that'll help your SEO.
The Relieve Daily blog is where I'm going to start. I guess you had recommended that I start writing about the different areas of chronic pain, like headaches and backaches and myofascial pain and things like that. And is that where I would do that in my blogs, and then have the categories, down that right sidebar?
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So your categories would be right here underneath the opt-in.
Okay. And I have a whole list of keyword-rich articles that I'm preparing to write.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Carla, as you're writing those, try to imagine, what action you would like your reader to take, so that instead of just being information, think about these as your own little article directory. And you know how when you submit an article to like Easy Articles, there's always a call to action at the bottom of it. Like, if you like this information, there's more here, click here. Think about that. Think about this as your own little article directory. And when you're writing the article, ask yourself the question, what do I want them to do when they're done writing this article? And then design it that way so that they'll either, click over and opt in, or they'll go watch a video, or they'll do something next. Rather than just to provide information, provide them information that leads them to some action, and that action leads them closer to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
This is looking really great. Boy, this is like night and day compared to the other one, now that I think about it. Now I'm remembering your other one.
Yeah, it really is. It is. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome. Nice choice of theme, too. I like that.
Yeah, I got a little freaked out that I kind of paralyzed that the whole chronic pain thing is just too big of a market.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of spun out about that. But I'm going to try it the way that you recommended. So
Great. Fantastic. You're doing an awesome job. So what's next?
Well, I need to start writing. I have a bunch of blogs lined up, but they're more sort of inspirational kinds of things, which I definitely want to do. But I really need to start working on my more specific articles about particular chronic pains, like the myofascial pain, the back pain, the headaches, and so on and so forth. So I think that's what's next. And I really haven't done anything to put this out there yet because I don't feel like I have enough content to give them at this point.
Okay, is there an autoresponder behind this?
Yes.
There is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And does that autoresponder lead them to any particular action, like calling you or buying something from you or anything like that?
Well, it leads them to something happened on my computer. Kind of lost. It leads them to be able to download. You can put your name in there and see what it does, but it leads them to sign up for my newsletter, and they get to download the 10 biggest mistakes. In that 10 biggest mistakes, there is a call to action, which was to declare your commitment about what you're gonna, which one of the ideas I give you're gonna try, and that's what you saw on that Relief Daily blog was leave a comment here. I've asked them to come back to my website and leave a comment of commitment and declaration, and also in that 10 mistakes download. There it talks about coaching opportunity, that if they want to have a customized system put together for them, to contact me, and we'll do that.
Okay, so of everything that you said, the thing I like the most is contact me, because that has a good chance of leading to some business, right? So keep this in mind. As we go through this, we want to move. It's kind of like we're dropping rose petals along the path and encouraging people to follow the rose petals. What's at the other end of the rose petal? You. And whether it's you or a product or an ebook or a seminar or a workshop or something. So when you're writing those autoresponders, write them with intention. And your intention is to educate and to enlighten people, so that when they see that you understand what they're going through, and then let them know through an invitation that you want them to work with you somehow, or that you have products and services that will help them, right? Because that's ultimately part of your goal as well.
I did that in my 10 mistakes, and I've done that on my About Carla Royal page.
Beautiful.
As well.
Okay, excellent. Let's go look here real quick.
And it's down at the bottom. You'll see, I'm going to teach you this, I'm going to teach you that, I'll show you step by step, yada, yada, yada. And there it is. It says, if you would like help to create a customized system for you, you may need blah, blah, blah.
Okay, good. Okay, I mean, at some point, what I think I would probably do here is suggest that you actually break this out so it's completely, it stands out, so people can see that there's something for them to do here, because otherwise it could just get lost, because you're using this kind of type font throughout. They might think it's just still part of the article. So a nice graphic to sort of step that out or pop it out from the page and let them know that there's something special for them to read there, and then and then contact you. So the first thing that you're wanting them to do, basically, so your primary offering is a coaching service, right?
Right now, I'm working on building some content, some video. I'm working on a video right now, but yes, right now, and because I also need the coaching clients to be able to do my surveys, to be able to get that information. The research, the coaching research calls are what I'm after right now.
Okay, so this is something you might want to consider doing. So rather than moving them and going to your contact page, because now your contact page is just a generic contact page that's asking for questions, feedbacks, and that kind of thing, right? So what I would recommend you think about doing is, I don't think I can use my pen here, but I know how I can do this. Hold on one sec. Okay, so here's your page. Right. So here, what I would probably do is break out a box of some kind, and then say, so is this, by the way, a free thing that you do for them? Create the customizable thing?
Well, probably not. I was thinking that would be the coaching calls. That I would coach. I would go through the coaching calls, and that would be that $97 call.
Okay, so here's what I'd recommend is right here, put the Johnson box that sometimes you'll see, right, and then put the offer right here for what it is they're getting, because if they're going to contact you, they're not paying anything yet anyway, right? Right. So I would say, so what is this? When they contact you, what happens next?
Well, then I would want to schedule an appointment to talk with them over the phone.
Okay, and that appointment is going to be free, right?
Yes, that appointment will be free.
Okay, so say free here, right? And what is this customizable system for your unique needs? What's the outcome of that call?
Well, that's where they're gonna get the things I mentioned on the first page. You know, those bullet points I mentioned on the home page. They're gonna learn to stop suffering and relieve pain, and they're gonna have more energy, and they're going to learn my secret tricks and tips.
Okay. So,
that kind of thing.
So what you do is name this session something like "Free from Pain Forever" session. You know, or whatever the outcome is, right? Free from pain forever, or no more chronic pain, or pain relief makeover, or give it a name, something like that. And say it's absolutely free. Put a picture of yourself, describe it, and say, a $97 value. Just opt in here with your name, and then give them, a place to put their preferred times and dates, and offer it to them right here. Let them sign up for free. Oh gosh, it just cleared. But just put it right there. Put free. No more pain makeover call. Okay, and then have your smiling face and what they're going to get. Tell them it's a $97 value, because you'll be talking to them about creating a custom solution for them, and then let them sign up for it right here.
Okay.
And also, by the way, I think I noticed. Oh, I guess I just scrolled down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What,
so here you're talking.
What's that little box? Yeah, what's that little box underneath free?
Free. This would be like your picture, and it describes what they're getting, right? And then actually the title here would be right after free.
Okay.
So it would excuse me, would look actually more like this: free. Claim your free no more pain makeover, a $97 value. That has your picture. It tells them what will happen on that call, and then tell them that if they give you your name, address, telephone number, and the best times, they can book. You'll get back to them and with one of those choices, or with an option, and in fact, you don't even have to put the phone number there. Just tell them to put the best times, and then you could follow up and confirm one of those times and have them call you if you want. Because if you ask for phone number, you'll get less people to sign up.
Right.
Okay. And then you could even put this on some autoresponder, but you don't even have to. When this comes into your email, just reply back and say, okay, confirming Wednesday at 7 p.m. Here's my phone number. Please call to get your free no more pain makeover. Okay.
Okay.
Put it right in there, and then remove this reference to the newsletter. Okay, because what we want to do here is we want them to focus on booking this free consultation with you. So everything that you put in here should support their desire to get on that call with you.
And then you mark through that. You can get free insights, tools, and advice. You mark through that because...
sorry, say that again?
Right above the create a customizable system, you mark through all that.
Yeah, this is where the reference to the newsletter is here, right? You're saying from my free member newsletter. So don't sell the newsletter when you're trying to sell the opt-in. Promote one thing at a time on each page, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because you're promoting the opt-in here on your other pages, and I would say the same thing to you that I said to Julie earlier. Get yourself something like the Aweber or the pop-up domination software, and put it in the footer of your theme, so that no matter what page they land on, the first thing they're going to see is a light box that gives them the option to opt in, and configure it so it only shows up once the first time every day that they come to your page.
And that pop-up box should be with that $97.
Well, that's a really good question. I was thinking it would probably be the free opt-in, but
the free opt-in though for that customizable thing or for the newsletter.
No, I would probably do it for the newsletter primarily, but I like the idea of testing the free offer.
Okay.
Yeah, try. Why not? If you can get them to opt in. But my experience is that most people, especially if they're just visiting your site, Unless
Right.
they're really in need, they're not likely to sign up for a phone call right away. But hey, test it out, because if they do, that would be fantastic. But I actually was thinking your newsletter here.
Okay. Even on that first page?
Yeah, because you're going to have this opt-in on every page anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what you want is something to pop up as a light box that they can't help but to see, because again, we tend to get a little bit of opt-in box blindness because we've seen so many of these on blogs, and so this isn't this isn't going to be your best performing opt-in box, but the light boxes do very well.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Beautiful.
Good.
All right, my dear. Can't wait to see that, and hopefully you'll start getting some consultations under the belt. Fantastic. Good work and great follow-up.
Thank you very much, Lou, for your help.
My pleasure. Check back in soon, okay?
I will.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, now that I'm looking at this, I'm remembering your other blog, Carla. Wow, this is like huge, huge shift. I like it a lot. Good. Okay. So, 9:42. Well, I guess that's Jake is just joining. All right, Jake, here. That's for you. There's a spelling mistake with the word receive. Oh, yeah. So, Carla, Suling just noticed here your word receive. It should be EI, I guess, instead of IE. I before E, except after C. Yes, exactly. Thank you for that, Suling. Let me see. So, Christopher, I'm going to do your question next time. And Jonathan says, I just thank you. You're welcome, Jonathan. Pam was making a comment for, I forget, I think it was Ross who was asking about the Facebook theme thing, and she suggests looking at Ning, Ning.com. So that's an option for you, Ross. Todd says, this is really interesting too. So we were talking earlier about to Ulrika, I think, about indexing and not indexing your pages, and Todd brings up a good point. Says if a page does get indexed that you don't want to get indexed, you can also go to Google Webmaster Tools and you can ask them to unindex your page. So that's an option. And again, for sales letters and opt-in incentives, they're promoting your product and they're promoting opt-ins. So I don't really care usually if they are indexed. But if you do have a page and you absolutely don't want it indexed, then you can definitely head over to Google Webmaster Tools as Todd is suggesting. So thanks for that, Todd. Good tip. Suling says, what's DL Guard? DL Guard, I'll tell you what, we don't have time to talk about it in detail, but if you go to dlguard.com, you can get all the information about that. It's basically a PayPal e-commerce solution. And what's the difference between capabilities of GoToWebinar and Carefree Conference calls? Right, so the main difference is that GoToWebinar allows you to do real-time moving screen broadcast, whereas Carefree Conference calls will allow static slide presentations, but it doesn't do, like here I'm moving my mouse and you can see it. If I go from one page to another, you can see it in real time. If I were to play a video, you can see it. You can't do that with Carefree Conference calls. But if you don't have the need, if all you need is to be able to present a static slideshow, then Carefree Conference calls is going to be pretty good for that. And then there's some other differences, but those are the sort of the big ones. Suling says the debate seems to be between OptimizePress versus Kajabi. Yeah, that's right. So OptimizePress and Kajabi pretty much do the same thing, except OptimizePress is a WordPress theme that you install on your own server, and Kajabi is a service that is run, maintained, optimized, and delivered through the company. So yeah, the question is, do you want to pay a one-time cost for the theme, or do you want to pay an ongoing monthly cost for the service? There are pros and cons to both. And my personal experience is, as much as I like OptimizePress, and I really do like it a lot, my experience with Kajabi is probably honestly, it's been about 10 times as easy to use Kajabi as it has been for OptimizePress. And OptimizePress is easy to use. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a great piece of software. In fact, I offer it for free as one of my workshops that I use. I give it to people. I buy it for them and give it to them. In some cases, I give it to them for $50 instead of $100 because I get a discount as an affiliate, and I just pass it along because I think it's that great a program. But personally, I still, there's still a lot to be said for Kajabi. Shuling says, for IT idiots like me, yeah, I don't want to call you an IT idiot by any stretch, Shuling, but listen, I'm not IT. I have a computer science degree. I was second in my class graduating university in computer science. So, and I still like the ease of use of Kajabi. I mean, it's not about whether or not you're it is a lot easier if you're not very tech savvy. But even if you are tech savvy, like, why do all that extra work, or why pay people to do all that extra work when you don't have to? That's kind of the way I figure it. If I wanted to use OptimizePress, I would have to have a webmaster, or I'd have to, set up the pages and maintain the site and maintain the plugins and, upgrade the service and, upload my videos and code them into the proper format. And I have to do all that work. So I know how to do it and I know how to outsource it, but why bother when it's all done, right? So that's kind of the way I like it. Let me see. Is GoToWebinar and GoToMeeting the same service? Yes, it is. GoToWebinar is GoToMeeting is a limit of up to 15 people, I think, and GoToWebinar allows you up to 1,000. There's a difference in pricing, of course, too. Can you download the questions that have been typed into the GoToWebinar box? Yes, I can, and I often do. Todd says, when using webinars for generating opt-ins, I see a lot of people using single opt-in. Do you think it's a bad idea to use a double opt-in for webinars? No, I don't think it's a bad idea to use it. Here's what I do is, if I'm inviting people from my list into a webinar, then I just keep it single opt-in. I mean, why have them double opt-in? But if I'm promoting something that's going to be public and go outside of my own list, and I'm using it for list building and all that thing, I tend to use double opt-in, even for webinars. So, I actually think you'll get higher double opt-ins, because when people want to come to a webinar, they're going to go to that extra level of clicking the confirmation. You actually will, I don't know if you will, but in my experience, I tend to see a higher opt-in confirmation rate on teleseminars and webinars than I do on just regular opt-ins. So yeah, it's not a bad idea at all, but I don't think, for internal use, what the heck, they're already on your list. So I save them the extra step. Okay, Joe says, okay, I changed my Facebook ad to CPM. Well, that's fast. Way to go, Joe. What would be a good number to have as a beginner's goal for the number of clicks that I can try to reach before our next coaching call? Well, you're going to be you're going to be a little bit at the mercy of Facebook, right? Because we don't know how many impressions and how many clicks you're going to get. But here's what you probably want to keep in mind. If possible, try to keep your click-through rate to like 0.1 to 0.15 or higher. So it's considerably, you're going to notice it's considerably less than search advertising. Search advertising, you'd want to have a click-through rate of 1.5% to 2% or better. On Facebook, you're going to have like a tenth of that, basically. So it's going to be 0.15, 0.1. If you can keep it above that as a click-through rate, you're doing okay. And see if you can get a couple of hundred clicks before you start evaluating whether it's good to continue with that or not. Okay, so run ads that have a click-through rate of 0.1 or 0.15 and better, and make decisions about how well the ad is working every couple of hundred clicks through to your ad, and then also how many opt-ins you get from those clicks. So you get 200 clicks to your ad. If you're getting 10, 15, 20% opt-in rates, then you're doing okay. Okay, and then, what the heck, let's just do Christopher's call while we're here. I don't know if I can actually answer this, but I've been reading about video sitemaps similar to sitemaps to tell Google about videos you place on your site. However, I don't know what to put up. Do you know of any WordPress plugins that create video sitemaps? Yeah, absolutely. There is actually, I think it's literally called Video Sitemaps. Let's see, WordPress plugin. directory. Okay, video sitemap. There you go. So this is the one I think that I would probably that I'm using Google XML sitemap, and so this is probably I think it's the same developer. So Google XML sitemap for videos will create an XML sitemap for all your videos. And yeah, it's highly recommended you do that because Google can't index video, right? They don't know what's on the video, but in this way what you'll be able to do is give them the keywords that tell them what's in the video, and it'll help your SEO. Okay, there you go. Christopher says, well, that was easy. Nice job. Thanks, Christopher. Yeah, it was easy. I'm glad I was able to do that. I was a little nervous when I saw your question. I went, uh-oh, what do I know about sitemaps? Not too much. Fantastic. All right, we're good to go. So on Thursday's call, what we'll do is start the call with a couple of laser coaching sessions, some strategy coaching calls. So I'll email you if you're one of the people that requested a spot, and one of those spots is yours. I'll email you with what to prepare for, and I am going to this time use a timer. So 15-20 minutes max at the outside. So make sure you're very focused on what it is you want to know, and I'm going to ask you about how you're doing against the Action Coaching Club checklist. So that might be a good place for us to start, so I get a good sense of where you're going, and then we'll drill down for 20 minutes and take a look at your product strategy, your marketing strategy, your sales pages, your opt-in pages, sales funnels, whatever it is. But this is all about stuff that you are actively working on, and that I can help you move forward. Okay, so we'll be doing 3 of those, and then time permitting, we'll go back to the mailbag and the Q&A like we did tonight. So with that, I will say thank you so much. I'm glad we got past that little hiccup with the conference call at the beginning. And as always, it's great to be here with you. And thank you for being here. Your being here allows me to do this work, which is fun and fulfilling for me. I always enjoy being in this conversation with you, and I sincerely appreciate you allowing that for me. Okay, thanks for now. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Namaste.